know when they have 30 seconds left, and a notification will sound when their time is up. We ask that speakers wrap up their comments upon hearing the 30-second warning. If a speaker would like the board member to bring down an item from the consent agenda for additional discussion, please note this request during your comments. Madam Clerk, do we have any speakers?
Yes, sir. We have 4 speakers, and our first one is Deanna Slatton speaking on agenda.
Hello, Deanna.
Hi, I'm back again. This time I'm back to ask to be put on the agenda, that we all sit down. Robert and I have talked about it, and we think we need to get together with all of you and sit down and have a meeting about the 5G towers and the water towers with the radiation, the mRNA vaccines and everything else, the stuff that we brought numerous times. We are also finding out now that they are actually putting in all injections. Dental work and medical stuff, this stuff is in everything. It's in medicines, it's in the food that we eat, it's in a lot of stuff. So this is a danger to our community. So what we want to do is sit down and show you what we have. And this is brought by scientists and doctors, all the stuff that we have and all the documents. And we want to sit down and figure out what this city's going to do to protect the people from all this stuff. There have been investigations, and I know there's been stuff pulled because of that. You'll see changes in all the supermarkets and stuff like that. You're going to see food changes because they're finding out that this stuff's in our food. They're putting it in our animals so that it affects us. And what it does is it shortens our lifespans. So we need to come together as a community and sit down and figure out what we're going to do about this and protecting our people. So that's my thing. Kathy, did y'all ever get the answers that we needed to all the information on the 5G and if it's safe, the frequencies and all that stuff that we sent the letter to you? Did you get the answers for all that Robert just sent this morning? Did any of you get that?
Not this morning.
You didn't get any of that? You didn't get the questions either?
This morning?
Yes, he emailed y'all. You didn't get no email from him on the questions that we needed answered, on the safeties and everything else in the community? The frequency readings? I think that's your job, Kathy, if I'm not mistaken. That's your job to find out the health stuff. So if you can get that for us, that would be great. So what I'm asking for is I need 2 aldermen to sit down and have this agenda set forward. Do I have anybody up there that would be willing to do this? Anybody?
Actually, I think your questions really have to be directed to me.
Okay, Mayor. Would I have you, I mean, we talked about this years ago, 1,100 days ago. You got this information. We talked about this and we talked about having the meeting. You told me to my face that we would have that meeting, and I expect it. And it's been a long time. A lot of people's been injured. So we need to sit down and have this meeting.
You know, my personal hesitation is, I know you have doctors that say X. I don't doubt that a bit. There are also doctors that state Y. And so when there's conflicting doctors out there giving conflicting information, we are not doctors, right?
Problem is, who are those doctors telling this? Who are the doctors saying it's safe? Because it's not. And you can't prove that it's safe. You can't prove any of this, the 5G for sure. It's only showing that the 5G is bad for everybody, animals included. So,
and you're aware that many, many, many cities have 5G.
I'm fully aware, and it doesn't need to be there, period. 5G, we can go down to 3G, Not a problem, but the 4 and 5G is dangerous to people's health. It causes diabetes, Alzheimer's, ALS, autism, a lot of other things that I could show you if y'all would sit down and listen to us. It does. We've got the reports, we've got the documents, all the studies. I don't know who you're getting your studies from, if any of you are. I know he said Marshall said he had somebody. Who was it? I'd like to know who that person is. This is answers that I want for my community. So, and Kathy, a lot of this is rolling on to you. Those answers we need to have from the city. You guys, I realize y'all might not, but she needs to know. She's the administrator, and she needs to get that information.
What ward do you live in?
I live outside the ward.
You
I live in the county, but I'm in Branson. I live in Branson community.
Okay, but not in city limits.
No.
Well, to get on the agenda, I believe it takes 2 aldermen to put your item on the agenda.
Okay.
And it sounds like you don't have 2 aldermen that represent.
Skyline Drive, I'm right next to Skyline. I'm in Skyline subdivision. That's where I'm at. So I'm just outside of it, but I'm in it. But county comes to our house and city
okay,
goes to
but-
the others.
But you're not in the city limits of Branson. You don't vote in the city of Branson.
Yes,
You do? You vote in Branson?
yeah,
Then you
I
must be in a-
vote.
Then you must be in a ward.
Well, from my understanding that I'm county, I don't know. That's what I've been told.
Okay,
But I'm in Skyline subdivision, so,
okay. If you would, contact the 2 aldermen that represent your district
okay.
and have this conversation.
Who represents that district, the Skyline? Which ones? You do? Okay. Ralph? Who else?
Ralph, you do Skyline?
Ruth and Ralph. Okay, good deal. That's who I'll talk to.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Our next speaker is Matt Kendrick, speaking on RV park expansion.
Well, Matt,
Hello, good evening, Mr. Mayor, Board. Matt Kendrick, 305 Lake Drive. Mr. Mayor, Alderman Howden, I sent you both emails with some issues that I'm having with rezoning our lots in the subdivision over to MDR so we can benefit from nightly rentals. Also with construction with the RV park. But I think I came up with a solution, so I'd like to read you that. So in light of it being football season, I figure I would come to you tonight in an attempt at Hail Mary. So I'm requesting a pause in construction of the RV park construction and a market analysis be conducted to verify if an RV park is the wisest use of that land. First, let me be clear, this is not an attempt to stop development or an attempt to restrict funds from Parks and Rec in any means. 2021 was the best year on record for RV sales, but sales have been in this steep decline ever since. Marshall, in that email I sent you, there's an article from Fortune.com titled, "The Pandemic Motorhome Bubble Burst with RV Sales Down 49% Year to Date." In that article, it states 2023 is on track to be the worst year in sales in nearly a decade. Also, I found an article that was published just a few weeks ago by John Marucci. He's a pro RV blogger with over 50,000 followers. He broke down those numbers a little further. He mentions that along with the decline in sales, the number of used RV for sales is at all-time highs. Many people introduced to RVing during the pandemic likely are now selling their units. Also, existing owners who were usually upgrading every few years en masse likely started to sit out their next upgrade because of the economy and because of inflation. Those numbers, along with the other new RV park across the lake, that was an unknown when this bill was voted on last year, are some of the reasons I'm making this request. The new RV park across the lake has been able to complete twice the amount of work in half the amount of time. I believe the plans for the Branson RV park have about approximately 30 sites. While the park across the lake already has those 30 sites poured and many more in works. With the addition of the new RV park across the lake, there will now have 3 RV parks in a half-mile radius. Are we certain there's enough demand to continuously fill the RV sites when the numbers clearly show the RV market is in steep decline? Meanwhile, Airbnb stock is up 70% for the year 2023. Look at the hundreds of millions of dollars that have been developed in the area in just vacation homes in the past couple of years. Market research clearly shows that nightly rentals is the new preferred way to vacation for now and years to come. We welcome the city to the neighborhood, but we ask that you build something that aligns with us. Clay, last year for this bill, you mentioned when we were talking about the fence being built that you drive down Lake Drive all the time. Well, when you drive through that neighborhood, guys, what do you see? You see homes, you don't see RVs. They talked about, during that reading as well, city staff mentioned installing a buffer. I'm 37 feet from the property line where the RV park is. So they talk about a wall being built with another 10 feet beyond that. But guys, think about where those lots are years to come as those lots are being sold and those houses are being rebuilt. Because of FEMA regulations, those houses are being on stilts. So there's no buffer in essence because those houses are now looking down on the RV park. So those regulations, but if you were to build something that was in line with the neighborhood, like Knightley's, there'd be no need for a wall or a divide. The whole neighborhood could be rezoned, the 3 lots that the city owns, along with the entire neighborhood back to MDR, which aligns with the 2030 master plan for the city. And the entire neighborhood could benefit from nightly rentals. Thank you.
Clay?
Are you the one that came and spoke to us that has the adjacent to the property, some
I live
Nightly's?
right across the street from where it's being built. Like I'm right, yeah.
Yeah, but you came and spoke a while back, right? Okay.
Yes, sir. I had a lot of surgeries last year, so my wife was here holding me up and, yeah,
Okay.
so.
I was just making sure. I thought that was you,
That was
but I
me.
wasn't sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your suggestion, or you're saying what? So you'd rather see what there?
I'd say rather see nightly rentals be built there. I think that money that's being invested right now, instead of RVs, put it into nightlies, because that's gonna be more in line with the neighborhood that's there already. And then the neighborhood wants to benefit from nightlies as well. And under right now being zoned LDR, we cannot do that. MDR, which is the city's, I think during the presentation last year, is in alignment for the 2030s master plan anyway. MDR calls for nightlies to be allowed. So that's what we would, because originally, with the original reading, you know, after the city was approved for their 3 lots to be changed over to conservation with a special use permit, four or five owners went to P&Z, said, we want to benefit from nightlies as well. And so P&Z said, well, we will not send recommendation to the board with only 4 owners being switched over because that would be considered spot zoning. But I thought, well, the city just was allowed to turn 3 over, but we can't turn 4 over. See, so Michael Woods he was in transition over. So I met with him, and then they said, we want the entire neighborhood switched over to MDR. So, okay. So we went door to door and got signatures, and of all the neighbors we actually found out there's a lot of long-term renters that live there, and then there's a lot of vacation homes, 2nd or 3rd vacation homes that live there. But of all the people who actually live there, all but one was in for it. When that to P&Z, they said we would need 100% approval, even though the city was not required to have 100% approval to have theirs changed over. So these are the issues that I was, trying to come up with. How can we get ahead to benefit from nightly rentals in the neighborhood, just how the city is? So that's why I'm here. But I think, guys, personally, call it what it is, that wall, fence, whatever, it's going to be a divide. I mean, and I know we've already started moving dirt, and I know we've already started doing all that, but guys, 3 RV parks in a half-mile radius, I mean, that place across the lake, man, they're rolling. I mean, they've got like 40, 50 pads already laid. I mean, they're moving. I mean, and I understand that this is not being financed, and I understand that this is coming from the general fund, but we can take a step back and see if this is the wisest thing. I mean, that's.
Any comments from the board? Marshall?
Matt, and I appreciate our correspondence that we've
Yeah.
had over the past week or so, buddy. I mean, I think the only challenge is that, there's only so many things that the Parks Department can do. Like the Parks Department couldn't build nightly rentals.
No, but that's why I'm coming to the city, because I think it wasn't at Parks I'm assuming it was Parks that recommended that those 3 lots go over to RV because all the monies from the RV park goes to Parks, right? So the expansion park, why couldn't we put that same amount of funding that comes from nightly rentals to Parks as well? I mean, I think this would generate a lot more money than RVs. That's my opinion. Over time, yeah. I mean, think about it. You got 3 acres. All of those lots down there are quarter-acre lots. So with the train tracks, I'm sure there's an easement off of that. I'm just guessing on that. I'm not sure. You could get at least 10, 11 homes down there. 10 years, I think that's going to be a lot more potential than RV pads. But
Matt, I'm fairly confident the city would have little appetite of getting into the rental home market.
right,
Can I ask a question?
sure.
So if your property was zoned for nightly rental, would you still have an objection to the RV park?
No, I'd be more in line, no. Because we came to you guys with that, because Mr. Mayor, I mean, you said that, and again, you said, in your opinion, and the words were, in your opinion, you cannot imagine this board, if it were still intact, getting in the way of the neighborhood wanting to benefit from nightly rentals. And that's what we want. I mean, again, I'm not objecting the 3 acres being developed. I'm just objecting really having RVs back and right up to because it's 47 feet from my driveway.
Okay, so then what Cody asked, what you're asking then is to have your properties rezoned.
Yes, because what's going to happen, Marshall, and I appreciate you saying this to me last meeting as well, don't beat around the bush. If I'm allowed to have that rezone, I'm moving. I'm staying in Branson, but I'm not going to live there. I'm going to rent it out. It's going to be a hotbed for night rentals down there.
Have you applied to zoning to,
I can't, because we have to have the entire neighborhood, and so
Oh, I
P and Z,
see.
even though we could come to you guys without P and Z recommendation, the issue we ran into that was you have to pay a non-refundable fund to get all of this stuff started, right? The neighborhood did not feel confident coming forward without recommendation from P and Z, with paying the non-refundable fund.
I don't serve on P and Z board,
Right.
but it seems to me if your number's true and it was an overwhelming majority of the owners
All but one.
that wanted this, to me, I think that should maybe be revisited at P and Z level to give you guys an opportunity to do what it is you want to do with your property.
Kathy, who would Matt correspond with to move this? Michael?
No, it wouldn't be Michael. I think instead of doing all this here,
Yeah.
like we're doing tonight, we'll take
Matt?
Matt's comments under advisement, and I'll talk to our team, and we'll figure out.
Okay.
Yeah, because
Something.
it was us and originally like four or five owners at the time that wanted to, get in line with the city to be able to have nightlies down there as well, so.
Matt, we have your contact information?
Thanks, Satch, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Bobby Wydeen, speaking on shout out to the Utilities Department.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I have to give a shout out to Kendall and his department. We were having some water pressure issues at Head Start yesterday, and so I called the city and said, hey, is anything going on? You working on pipes or anything? And they're like, well, we'll make a few phone calls and we'll get back with you. Well, about a half hour later, I get a phone call from a guy named Mike. He came over, he checked our meter, he came in our building. He was very careful because it was nap time, and you don't disturb children when they're sleeping. So he came in and he gave us a good idea what the problem was, which now we have a plumber coming out on Thursday, so I really appreciate it. He did a great job, very friendly, nice guy, and you need to hear the good stuff. Thank you.
Thank you, Bobby. Bobby, thank you so much for that.
Our final speaker is Gary Groman, speaking on Project Fairness.
Hello, Gary.
Hello. Project Fairness. There's a lot of different projects. The one I was concerned about was the Disney project coming up. But to make a presentation at this time would be premature in view of some of the actions that are going on right now. So I will just wait on that project. But another project that I see, that I get to see every day, is that campground expansion going in down by the lake. The gentleman was just here, he's correct. There are 3 campgrounds within a half a mile of each other, but 2 of those campgrounds are outside of Branson city limits, and none of those campgrounds really contribute direct funds to our recreational budget. That campground does. And to me, it seems like a logical expansion of a campground that's already there. You've got a ramp. You got the train trestle and stuff like that going by. If the train doesn't bother them, I don't see how this campground would. You just look at the money that campground brings into us and the recreational facilities it provides, and I think it goes without saying. And I would take this opportunity to wish you all a Merry Christmas and to thank you. Although we disagree on some things at different times, I truly appreciate each and every one of you giving the time that you give in serving our city, and I thank you very much for that.
Wow, thank you, Gary. Madam Clerk, do we have any, we're on a roll here.
No, sir, that was the last speaker.
I was liking what I was hearing. So, next is the consent agenda. Are there any items the board would like moved down from consent?
Mayor, I'd like item number 3 to be removed from the consent agenda and placed as the first item on the regular agenda.
Madam Clerk, I think that's already been, is that the item that's been postponed?
No, it's the budget. It's the new item 3.
Oh, the budget. Look at me like that. Madam Clerk, would you please read the items on the consent agenda as amended?
Your Honor, the items on the consent agenda are as follows. Approval of the Board of Aldermen minutes for the November 14th, 2023 special meeting and November 14th, 2023 regular meeting. Acknowledgement of disbursements for October 17th, 2023 through November 17th, 2023. Final reading of Bill Number 6390, an ordinance approving Amendment Number 1 with Missouri State University for professional services related to the administration of the Community Development Block Grant for the Compton Drive Wastewater Treatment Plant Project and actions related thereto. Final reading of Bill Number 6391, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to sign a contract amendment with Missouri State University extending the contract for professional services related to the administration of the Community Development Block Grant for the Elevate Branson Tiny Homes Project. Final reading of Bill Number 6392, an ordinance approving the second addendum with the Southern Missouri Professional Firefighters Local Number 152, affiliated with the International Association of Firefighters, AFL-CIO, for changes in monetary provisions only, and authorizing the mayor to execute the contract. Final reading of Bill Number 6393, an ordinance amending Appendix A of the Branson Municipal Code pertaining to fire protection and prevention fee schedule. And final reading of Bill Number 6394, an ordinance amending the adopted 2023 budget for the city of Branson to adjust monies for additional expenses in the fire department internal service fund for an increase in the fire department capital projects to account for the fire department division chief of operations vehicle. Your Honor, that concludes the reading of the consent agenda.
Do I have a motion approving all items on the consent agenda?
Second.
Motion is second. Madam Clerk, would you like a roll call vote?
Yes, please. Fenton.
Yes.
Denham. Cooper.
Yes.
Howden.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
LeBlanc.
Yes.
The result of the vote is 5-0. Motion carries. Your Honor, this is the first reading of Bill Number 6388, an ordinance adopting a budget and a capital program for the city of Branson, Missouri for the fiscal year January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2024.
So you've heard the final reading of Bill 6388. Do I have a motion approving this bill?
Second.
We have a motion is second. Staff report from Ben. Hello, Ben.
Mayor, members of the board, when we went back and went through our numbers again, what we found is one oversight that we needed to plug in the budget. What you've got before you is an edit to the budget to add $150,000 for the pavement management update that's been discussed during workshops as far as our staff is concerned as well. It missed the $330,000. It needs to go up to $480,000. You can see the cross-out edits. This is the only page that had an edit to it, just to make sure it matches with what the board expectations was. And because this is the second reading, we've got to amend the budget as it's stated right in front of you. I'll let Hillary's much smarter than I am tell you how to do that. But The way I understand it is with these edits, we can then have the second reading. And this is the only change I've got to the budget you've got.
Okay. Is there anybody in the audience wishing to speak to this? Any members of the board?
Your Honor, I move to, are we ready to amend it? Or make a motion? Your Honor, I move to amend Bill number 6388 as follows. Replace ordinance Exhibit 1, 2024 budget with the first amended 2024 budget.
Do you have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments from the audience? Comments from the board? Hearing none, let's vote on the amendment. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Noes, same sign. Ayes have it.
So now we just need to vote on the bill as amended, and that needs to be a roll call vote.
Okay.
If you're ready, I can do that.
I'm ready.
Benton,
Yes.
Cooper,
Yes.
Howden,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Yes.
LeBlanc.
Yes.
Okay, the result of the vote is 5-0, motion carries. Your Honor, the next item is a resolution approving the engagement letter agreement with Baker Tilly US LLP for financial management and general municipal advisory services, and authorizing the mayor to execute the documents related thereto.
So I have a motion adopting this resolution. We have a motion and a second. We'll get a staff report from Alex.
Good evening, Mayor and Board. For your approval this evening via resolution is an engagement letter for continuing services through 2024 with Baker Tilly for financial management services. This contract will continue our excellent working relationship with Baker Tilly on a wide range of financial projects and services to ensure our city's financials and finance department are best positioned to serve our community, municipality, and respective taxpayers. Back in June of 2022, under a Phase 1 approach, we engaged with Baker Tilly for them to serve as the interim finance director. This 2024 renewal of services shifts Baker Tilly to a Phase 2 approach of serving in more of a relationship management role to assist the newly appointed finance director and in a general financial management consultant capacity. Some deliverables in this renewal include providing leadership and assisting the city with annual budget preparation, including forecasting, periodic budget monitoring, reporting, and analysis, economic development review, accounting assistance, and on-call general finance consulting. So staff recommends approval of this contract.
Anyone in the audience have any comments on this? So basically what we're saying is Cherie has taken the reins.
Correct.
And now she has a stable of resources behind her. Correct? Any aldermen have any comments? Go ahead, Marshall.
How will this change the day-to-day for like Ben, for example?
So Ben will move from being the principal, right, the interim finance director, to Cherie. So Cherie is managing day-to-day operations, really generating probably a lot more work for finance department, but getting a lot more work done across our different departments. So Cherie has really taken the reins in that respect and is really kind of fleshing out our finance department, making sure staff are fitting in the right roles and accomplishing tasks. And Ben is going to switch more to the backseat, the Phase 2 approach, which is really on-call general consulting, in addition to our SID board, economic development, incentive review, and project review, and a number of other services too, getting into the details of accounting and forecasting and budgeting and all of those respects. So just really an added resource. There isn't an assistant finance director currently, so this will kind of help bridge that gap as well.
Ben, I just got to say, with the utmost confidence that you led us through the transition period, and I appreciate everything you've done, and it's just given this board a really good opportunity to sleep well at night, knowing that we've got our finances in such well order. So I appreciate all you've done and look forward to continue working with you. So.
Yep. Any other comments from the board?
Ditto.
Ditto. So let's vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it.
Thank you.
Your Honor, the next Item is a resolution approving the contract with Flock Safety for the purchase of additional Flock cameras and authorizing the mayor to execute the contract.
Do I have a motion adopting this resolution? Second. We have a motion and a second. We'll get a staff report from Officer Dale Burnett. Fresh blood. Oh, so Alderman, if you have
Did
any
EJ do
questions?
so bad they sent you to fill his shoes?
No comment. Mr. Mayor, members of the board, this contract is a significant positive development for the city because it allows us to secure a discounted price as well as include the Parks Department cameras on the PD's contract for that discounted price. The savings result from our ability to lock in the 2022 price we had for our initial 8 cameras over the next 5 years to include an additional 8 PD and 5 Parks cameras. It's significant because Flock's prices went up in 2023 and will likely to increase over time. As a result of this contract, we are saving at minimum $500 per camera or $52,500 over the next 5 years. Additionally, for 2024, we received, and the Board of Aldermen approved last meeting, another grant that will pay half of the PD's cost. Also, Parks is reimbursing the police department for their 5 cameras every year. As a result, the police department's actual cost in 2024 will be reduced by approximately $32,500. For 2025 and beyond, the cost per department will be $40,000 for police and $12,500 for Parks. Contract allows us to expand from 8 cameras to 21 between PD and Parks. This will greatly increase our ability to apprehend criminals and prevent additional criminal behavior. The placement of these cameras was chosen to notify us if a flagged plate comes into the city via most of the major ingress points, or if a flagged plate is at any of the 3 park locations with cameras. This will allow us to find wanted criminals from other jurisdictions before they have the chance to commit crimes in Branson. For plates not already flagged, the additional cameras greatly improve our ability to find vehicles associated with crimes in Branson, including the covered parks. Just briefly, I'd like to share a couple of success stories from our implementation of the first 8 Flock cameras. During the Pagan Outlaw Motorcycle Gang Rally, Flock cameras, which had only been up for a couple of days at the time, allowed us to recover a stolen car and make 2 significant felony arrests related to that rally. After an ATM break-in, Flock cameras assisted in the apprehension of the suspects less than 11 hours later in Texas, and all stolen cash was recovered. Just in the past few weeks, a felony domestic suspect assaulted his mother and stole her car. The car kept being flagged by one of our Flock cameras, which allowed our officers to conduct a grid search in the area and arrest the suspect at a nearby house. These are just a few of the highlights, in addition to the multiple stolen vehicles, arrest warrants, and Branson-specific crimes recovered, served, or solved through the use of Flock cameras. We appreciate your consideration, and we would recommend approval of the contract.
Officer Burnett, I'll tell you, the more I hear about these Flock cameras, that is the proactive policing that you guys have always wanted to do.
Yes, sir.
Very impressive. What I don't know is how in the world you squeezed money out of Cindy to help offset these costs.
Well, I cannot personally take credit for that, sir. You'd have to talk to Chief Schmidt.
Oh, dear. So the rules are, if I mention her name, she comes up to talk. It's okay. It's only fair.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to say, if you remember, Clay, this is really born from your employee having a break-in at Stocksville Park. Do you remember that? And you had somebody break in, they stole their purse or something like that. And so I got with the city administrator, and it is hard. Parks are really large areas, so you can't just figure out where to put a camera, right? And these Flock, I think this is going to be great for us. We'll have 2 at Stocksville, 1 at Lakeside Forest, and 1 at the Recplex. So I think it will be really well put, very proactive. I just wanted to say that because I didn't know if you remembered that.
Samantha, yeah, she had quite an ordeal with that and quite a bit of expense from that whole thing, so.
Yeah, it was a bad deal.
Yeah.
Hopefully this will help in the future.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Yeah, Lakeside Forest too, Cindy. I mean, that's a place we've had car break-ins in the past, and, it's, Branson is unique in that the kind of crime challenges that we face are those kind of personal property ones, And so, a parking lot like that was just sort of sitting ducks there. So it's nice to have something like this. It really gives us a lot of confidence, so.
I talked to Chief Schmidt when this first came up about getting some in my theater parking lot, and then they can just tie right into them, and that just gives them more, not at their expense, at my expense, but that just gives more, I think they're fantastic. So I'm looking to put a couple of those on our property, so awesome.
Cindy, we appreciate your continued leadership, that's for sure. And Officer Burnett, boy, hats off to you, but we have to vote first. You have a sense of how the way the vote's going?
I'm not a betting man, sir.
You know, I'd put money on this one. Okay, so let's vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Ayes have it. Thank you.
Your Honor, the next item is a resolution accepting the proposal of Table Rock Asphalt Construction Company Incorporated for base rock and asphalt mix and authorizing the mayor to execute the contract.
Do I have a motion adopting this resolution?
Second.
We have a motion, a second, staff report from Michael. Hello, Michael.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the board. Really quickly, the bid received from Table Rock Asphalt Construction meets the specifications for base rock and hot mix asphalt. Staff recommends the bid for $156,445 for projects for Public Works and Utilities Department. Exciting for me, not for you. So it gets us our materials to take care of the roads.
It's good to see you smiling, Michael. Anybody in the audience wishing to address this? Any members of the board? Hearing none, let's vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Ayes have it. Thank you, Michael.
Your Honor, this is the first reading of Bill Number 6397, an ordinance amending Section 22-31 of the Branson Municipal Code pertaining to the records on computers.
You've heard the first reading of Bill 6397. A motion approving this bill. We have a motion, a second. Staff report from smiling Cherie.
Hi. Okay, so currently for finance, we require a paper copy for each of our business license. And the state of Missouri does not require this, nor the federal government. So we would like to have the code changed to match the state and federal requirements, mainly because of space. I have like 17 huge file cabinets, and it's more efficient, it's cost saving. So I would like the approval to change our code from requiring a paper copy for each business license to electronic, please.
Wow. That ought to spur some comment. Any comments from the audience? Any comments from the board? None? Sheree, I think that's great.
Okay.
So I don't get to vote, so I'm going to tell her I think it's great.
I agree, it is great.
So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Ayes have it. Thank you, Sheree. My goodness, we are at the report section of our meeting. Alderman Fenton.
Mayor, I'm just so darn proud of you for it being 6:43 and where it reports, so I've got nothing to report other than that.
Mr. Cooper.
I defer to Alderman LeBlanc.
According to Robert's Rules of Order,
Time
you can't
well-
defer your time.
Time well spent. Alderman Howden. Alderman Rodriguez. I know. Oh, Alderman LeBlanc. Anything to report?
Thanksgiving was very busy in Branson. I love seeing the cars. Every time I see cars, I see increased revenue tax-wise. I see Clay's Theater full. I see food and restaurants, people putting out food, and that's just great business for Branson.
Thank you. Kathy? 2 meetings in a row, nothing. I know our community did well over the Thanksgiving holidays. We're entering our festive Ozark Mountain Christmas season. I think that's it. So, you need...
Mayor, I move to go into closed executive session pursuant to 610.021.12 RSMO for negotiated contracts.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Madam Clerk, would you now provide a roll call vote?
Benton.
Yes.
Denham. Cooper.
Yes.
Howden.
Yes.
Rodriguez. LeBlanc. The result of the vote is 5-0. Motion carries.
The board will now move into closed executive session and will return to the council chambers once executive session is over to adjourn the Board of Aldermen regular meeting. do I have a motion to adjourn the Board of Aldermen meeting?
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it, meeting adjourned.